The arrival on Iron 5. In the vast expanse of space, where silence reigns and stars twinkle like distant diamonds, a lone ship glided smoothly through the cosmic sea. The Odyssey, an intergalactic trade vessel, was en route to Iron 5, a planet shrouded in secrecy and mystery. The crew, seasoned in the ways of the universe, was filled with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Among them was Stephen Mackenzie, a xenobiologist with a profound curiosity about alien civilizations. For 3 years, he had traveled to distant worlds, forging connections and unraveling the secrets of life beyond Earth. However, this mission was unlike any other. As the ship approached its destination, the dense clouds of Iron 5 came into view, swirling in shades of deep green and blue. From the observation window, Stephen watched as the planet's surface revealed itself, a wild tapestry of lush jungles and ancient ruins. His heart raced with the thrill of exploration, but it was tempered by the reports he had read about the Vera, the civilization that called Iron 5 home. Known for their advanced technology and isolationist tendencies, the Vera had turned down all attempts at communication for decades. Now, in an unexpected turn of events, they had invited the Odyssey to their world under strict conditions: no weapons, no drones, and only a small team allowed on the surface. "Landing crew, prepare for descent," crackled Captain Hensley's voice through the intercom, jolting Stephen from his reverie. The familiar flutter of excitement, mixed with anxiety, stirred in his chest. He was part of the landing team, a privilege earned through his relentless curiosity and dedication. As he donned his spacesuit, he exchanged glances with Commander Josiah Pratt, a no-nonsense leader known for his efficiency. Pratt's brow was furrowed in concentration, but his nod to Stephen was encouraging. "Remember, stick to the plan," Pratt instructed. "No wandering off. The Vera are serious about their protocols." Stephen forced a smile, trying to ease the tension in the air. He knew the stakes were high, but he felt a pull toward the mysteries that lay below. As the shuttle descended through the atmosphere, the air grew thick and humid, wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. The view from the viewport was breathtaking. Rivers snaked through the jungle like silver veins, and towering trees rose majestically into the sky. But beneath the beauty lurked danger, an understanding that this planet, while vibrant, could hide unknown threats. The shuttle touched down with a soft thud, and the landing ramp extended. The team stepped onto the mossy ground, their boots sinking slightly into the earth. The air was thick with the scent of exotic flora, a mixture of sweetness and something metallic that made Stephen's senses tingle. Around them, the sounds of the jungle enveloped them: alien birds screeching, insects buzzing, and the rustle of unseen creatures darting through the underbrush. "Keep your eyes peeled," Pratt ordered, scanning the tree line. "The Vera could be watching us." The team moved cautiously along the designated path, which led them to a series of ancient stone structures jutting from the ground, their surfaces etched with intricate symbols that glowed faintly. Stephen's curiosity intensified. These carvings were unlike anything he had ever seen. They pulsed with an energy that felt alive, almost as if they were communicating. "What do you make of this?" Laura, a geologist on the team, asked, crouching beside one of the pillars. Stephen knelt next to her, running his gloved hand over the symbols. "These aren't just decorations. They might be part of an energy system, or even a form of communication," he speculated, his mind racing with possibilities. Just then, a movement caught his eye from the corner of the clearing. Partially obscured by vines and moss was a massive temple, looming larger than any of the other structures. Its dark stone facade seemed to absorb light, exuding an eerie stillness that contrasted sharply with the vibrant jungle. A deep sense of curiosity urged him closer. Should he report it to the commander? Something within him hesitated, whispering that this was a moment he couldn't ignore. "I'll just take a quick look," Stephen murmured to himself, slipping away from the group. The thick jungle air enveloped him as he made his way toward the temple, the sounds of his team fading behind him. Vines hung from the structure like the fingers of a long-forgotten giant, and as he reached the entrance, an invisible force beckoned him inside. Inside the temple, the air was cool and stale, a stark contrast to the humid jungle outside. The walls glimmered with more glowing glyphs, pulsating softly as if breathing. He felt like he had stepped into another world, a realm untouched by time. The corridor was twisted and turned, disorienting him as he ventured deeper into the structure. Shadows danced around him, whispering secrets he couldn't decipher. As he rounded a corner, he entered a massive central chamber. At its heart stood a towering statue of a Veer, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. But before Stephen could process this strange sight, figures emerged from the darkness, alien guards, their sleek forms moving silently as they surrounded him. Panic surged through him as they gripped his arms, their strength overwhelming. He struggled, but their hold was unyielding. "Who are you?" he gasped, heart racing, but they offered no answer. They dragged him deeper into the temple, fear clawing at his mind. Where were they taking him? What did they want? Finally, they arrived at a cavernous chamber bathed in a haunting glow. At the far end, seated on a throne of dark stone, was Queen Ethera. Her presence was suffocating, an overwhelming aura of authority and power. She towered over Stephen, her beauty alien and intimidating. As she regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and disdain, he felt small and insignificant. "You have ventured where you do not belong," her voice echoed, soft yet commanding. Stephen struggled to find his voice. "I didn't mean to intrude," he stammered, but she raised a hand, silencing him with a mere gesture. "You were chosen," she declared, her words sending chills down his spine. "Your arrival was foretold. The time has come for my daughter to fulfill her purpose, and you, human, will play your part." Stephen's mind raced. What did she mean? Before he could voice his questions, she leaned closer, her gaze piercing. "If you do not mate with my daughter, I will kill you." The ultimatum hung heavy in the air, a declaration that shattered the fragile reality Stephen had known just moments before. His heart pounded violently, his mind scrambling for an explanation, a way to escape this unimaginable fate. The Queen's cold tone made it clear that there was no room for negotiation. Stephen felt the weight of her presence, an oppressive force that left him breathless. He was trapped, caught in a web of fate spun by an alien queen. The stakes were higher than he could fathom, and as he knelt before her, a desperate determination ignited within him. He needed to find a way out of this nightmare, not just for himself, but for whatever future lay ahead. In that moment, the realization struck him. He was standing on the precipice of a choice that would shape the destiny of both humanity and the Veer. The battle for survival had begun, and the path forward was obscured by shadows and uncertainty. But deep within him, the spark of human resilience flickered, ready to challenge the darkness that loomed ahead. As the tension in the chamber thickened, Stephen knew that the story was far from over. This was just the beginning of an adventure that would test the limits of courage and creativity in ways he had never imagined. He was determined to uncover the truth and navigate the complex web of relationships that bound their fates together. Would he dare to defy the Queen's demand, or would he find a way to turn the tide in favor of humanity? With that thought, he steeled himself, ready to face the challenges ahead. A choice of fates. The weight of Queen Ethera's ultimatum lingered in the air like a thick fog, smothering any hope Stephen had of finding a way out. As he knelt before the imposing throne, the surreal reality of his situation began to settle in. The cold eyes of the Veer Queen bore into him, reflecting a power that felt ancient and unyielding. He felt like a pawn on a cosmic chessboard, caught in a game where the rules were dictated by forces far beyond his understanding. "If you do not mate with my daughter, I will kill you," the Queen repeated, her voice resonating through the chamber with an unshakable authority. Each word was a heavy stone dropping into a silent well, creating ripples of dread in Stephen's heart. Panic surged through him, but beneath that panic lay a growing resolve. He had come too far and seen too much to simply surrender to this fate. Gathering his courage, Stephen took a deep breath and dared to meet the Queen's gaze. "Why me?" he asked, his voice steadier than he felt. "There must be another way. Surely there are other options for your daughter's future." Athera's lips curled into a cold smile, one that sent shivers down his spine. "You are unique, human. Your species possesses resilience, creativity, and adaptability that my people lack. It is those very qualities that I require in a union with my daughter, Allure. We need a hybrid, a being that combines the strength of both our races." As she spoke, the shadows in the chamber flickered, revealing more of the intricate carvings on the walls, glyphs and symbols that seemed to tell a story of desperation and survival. He could sense the weight of centuries of tradition, of a people on the brink of extinction. The stakes were higher than he had imagined, and his mind raced with questions. What did this hybridization entail? What would happen to him if he agreed? Before he could articulate his thoughts, the Queen motioned, and from the shadows emerged Princess Allure. The moment she stepped into the light, Stephen felt a shift in the atmosphere. Allure was striking, with an ethereal beauty that seemed to radiate from her very being. Her skin shimmered in the dim light, and her eyes, large and almond-shaped, reflected a mix of curiosity and apprehension. "You will do this, Allure," Queen Athera commanded, her tone brooking no argument. Stephen felt a jolt of sympathy for the princess, sensing that she was as trapped by her circumstances as he was. Allure's expression was unreadable, but Stephen could see the conflict lurking beneath her calm facade. "What if I don't want this?" she asked, her voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. It was a question that hung in the air, carrying the weight of both their fates. "Your desires do not matter," the Queen replied sharply. "This is for the survival of our race. You were born for this purpose." Stephen's heart ached at the thought of being forced into such a dire situation. He looked at Allure, desperate for a glimpse of agency, a flicker of rebellion in her eyes. "You don't have to accept this, Allure. There must be another way to save your people, one that doesn't involve sacrificing your freedom." Allure's gaze flickered to her mother and back to Stephen, her expression softening for just a moment. "It's not that simple. My mother is right about one thing. Our people are facing extinction." Her voice was barely above a whisper, yet it resonated deeply within him. "If I do not fulfill my duty, the Veer may not survive." The gravity of her words sank in. The fate of an entire civilization rested on her shoulders, a burden far heavier than Stephen's own. But even as he contemplated the enormity of the situation, he felt a spark of determination igniting within him. He could not allow fear to dictate his choices. He had to find a way to turn the tide, not just for himself, but for Allure and her people. "What would it mean for me if I agreed?" Stephen asked, returning to the core of the matter. "You mentioned a hybrid. What would I become?" Allure stepped closer, her eyes locking onto his with an intensity that made his breath catch. "You would be changed, Stephen. The fusion of our species would create something new. Your consciousness would be linked with mine. You would share thoughts and emotions. But you would also gain some of our abilities, our strength. You would be neither fully human nor fully Veer." Stephen's mind reeled at the implications. The idea of losing his humanity, of becoming a part of something alien, sent a chill down his spine. Yet, as he looked at Allure, he saw the possibility of connection and strength, a chance to forge a new path in a world where both their species could thrive. "But at what cost?" he pressed, trying to uncover the deeper truths. "What will happen to my identity? Will I lose who I am?" "The bond is sacred to my people," Allure explained, her voice steady yet tinged with emotion. "It is not merely physical. It is a melding of our essences. You will carry part of me within you, and I will carry part of you. It is both a gift and a burden." A flicker of hope mingled with fear in Stephen's heart. Perhaps this could be an opportunity, a chance to explore new realms of existence, to understand the Veer in ways that no one else could. But the thought of being unable to return to his old life gnawed at him. Would he ever see his friends and family again? Would he have to leave Earth behind forever? "What if I refuse? What happens then?" he asked, feeling the tension in the room thickening. "You will die," Queen Athera interjected, her voice cutting through the air like a blade. "Your life will end here, and we will find another means to ensure our survival, even if it means making more desperate choices." The finality of her words struck him like a physical blow. Stephen felt his heart racing, the reality of his mortality crashing down upon him. He had no choice, the Queen's grip on his fate was ironclad. But the question remained, could he truly accept the hybridization and become a part of this alien world? "If I agree," he said, swallowing hard, "what happens next? What is the process?" Allure looked at him with a mix of trepidation and resolve. "We would perform a ceremony, a sacred union. There will be risks, but if we succeed, we can create a new future for both our peoples." Stephen's heart raced at the thought of the ceremony. It felt both intimate and daunting, a threshold he would have to cross. "And you? What do you want out of this?" he asked, searching her gaze for an answer. Allure hesitated, a flicker of vulnerability crossing her face. "I want to protect my people, but I also want to be free. Free to choose my own path. I don't want to be a pawn in my mother's game." A new understanding blossomed between them. They were both trapped by their circumstances, yet both held the potential for change. "Then let's find a way together," he said, his resolve strengthening. "If we're going to do this, let's make it a choice, not a command. Let's fight for our future, not just for survival." The Queen's expression darkened as she listened to their exchange, the tension crackling like static in the air. "You have little time left," Athera warned, her voice low and threatening. "Make your decision. Submit to your destiny or die. There is no other option." As Stephen knelt before her, the weight of her ultimatum pressed down on him. Yet, in that moment, he realized that he had the power to shape his destiny, even within these oppressive walls. The future was not set in stone, and if he had to become a hybrid, he would ensure it was on his terms. "I will agree to the union," Stephen declared, raising his gaze to meet the Queen's. "But I will do so on my terms, and together with Allure, we will forge a new path. This will not be just about survival. It will be about creating a future for both our peoples, one built on understanding and cooperation." Athera's cold smile faltered for just a moment before returning, but there was something else in her eyes, an acknowledgement of his determination. "Very well," she said, her voice calm yet calculating. "You have chosen your fate, but remember, your life will never be the same. You will bear the weight of this decision for eternity." The tension in the chamber shifted, and as Allure stepped closer, Stephen felt a mixture of fear and hope surging within him. Together, they would face whatever lay ahead, challenging the expectations that had bound them for so long. "We will make this work," Allure said softly, her eyes reflecting determination. "No matter what it takes." The union of fates. The atmosphere in the grand chamber shifted dramatically as Stephen made his fateful decision. Queen Athera's expression was inscrutable, a mask of regal authority that hid the tumult of emotions he suspected churned beneath the surface. Allura stood beside him, her presence a blend of strength and vulnerability. The stakes had never been higher, and the path ahead was fraught with uncertainty. "Prepare the sacred chamber," Athera commanded, her voice slicing through the heavy air. The alien guards, still looming like silent shadows, stepped back but remained vigilant. Stephen could feel their watchful gazes, assessing him as though he were a curiosity to be studied. The Queen turned to face him, her eyes gleaming with a cold intensity. "You understand, human, that this union is not merely a ceremony. It is a fusion of our very essences, a bond that will reshape you and intertwine your fate with that of my daughter." "I understand," Stephen replied, his voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions within him. "But I need to know more about what this entails. What should I expect?" "The ceremony will take place in the Temple of Connection," Allura explained, her voice a soothing balm amidst the tension. "It is a sacred place where our people have forged bonds for millennia. There, the energies of our species will intertwine, allowing us to share our minds and spirits. You will feel my essence, and I will feel yours. And what of my humanity? Stephen pressed, his concern bubbling to the surface. Will I lose who I am? You will not lose yourself, Allure reassured him, her large eyes filled with an intensity that made him feel seen. But you will change. You will carry parts of me within you, and you will gain strengths that are alien to your kind. There is a great power in this union, but it comes with a heavy price. What price? Stephen asked, sensing the weight of her words. The ability to commune with my people and tap into our ancient wisdom, Allure explained, but it also means carrying the burden of our survival. You will feel our fears, our hopes, our struggles. Our destiny will become entwined, for better or worse. The enormity of her statement sent a chill through him. The prospect of being intertwined with the Veer's fate was daunting, yet it also held a spark of potential that was hard to ignore. And what if I want to pull away from that? He asked, his voice barely a whisper. You cannot. Athera's voice was like ice, cutting through the air with finality. The bond is unbreakable. It is a commitment to our future and a covenant with our past. Your refusal would mean your end, and Allure would suffer the consequences of your choice. Stephen's heart raced. The weight of the Queen's words bore down on him like a heavy shroud. The consequences were dire. The stakes were far greater than he had initially understood. He felt the gravity of the moment pulling him into the abyss of uncertainty, and yet he remained determined to forge ahead. Then I accept my fate, he said, summoning his courage. I will do this. I will join with Allure, and together we will navigate whatever challenges lie ahead. Allure's expression softened, relief mingling with a flicker of hope in her eyes. Thank you, Stephen. Your willingness to embrace this is more than I could have hoped for. Together, we can change our fates. The Queen regarded them both, her expression inscrutable. Then let us proceed. Follow me to the Temple of Connection. It is time for the sacred union to begin. As they moved through the dimly lit corridors of the temple, Stephen felt a mixture of trepidation and excitement. The walls were adorned with the same intricate symbols he had seen before, pulsating with a faint light that seemed to resonate with a rhythm of its own. Each step felt heavy with significance, as though the very stones were alive with the energy of those who had come before. The journey led them deeper into the temple, where the air grew cooler and the sounds of the jungle faded into an eerie silence. At last, they arrived at a vast chamber illuminated by an ethereal glow. The room was circular, its walls lined with ancient carvings depicting the history of the Veer, a story of survival, struggle, and the bonds that held their society together. In the center of the chamber stood a stone altar, intricately carved with more glowing glyphs. It pulsed with energy, casting a soft light that flickered like fireflies. Stephen's heart raced as he took in the sight. This was the place where their destinies would intertwine, where the boundaries between their worlds would blur. This is it, Allure said, her voice barely above a whisper. The place where we will become one. Queen Athera stepped forward, her presence commanding. Prepare yourselves. The union requires full focus and intention. You must both be willing to embrace what comes next. Allure took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto Stephen's. He could feel the connection between them growing stronger, an invisible thread weaving their fates together. As they approached the altar, he felt the energy of the chamber swirl around him, a warm embrace that calmed his racing heart. Hold my hand, Allure said, extending her slender fingers toward him. He grasped her hand tightly, feeling the warmth radiate from her skin. The moment their skin touched, a spark ignited between them, and a wave of energy coursed through his body. Focus on each other, Athera instructed, her voice resonating like a distant echo. Feel the bond forming. Allow your essences to intertwine. This is not just a joining of bodies, but a merging of souls. Stephen felt a rush of emotions, fear, anticipation, and a flicker of excitement. The air thickened around them, charged with a palpable energy that heightened his senses. He turned his gaze to Allure, and in that moment everything else faded away. There was only her, and the promise of what lay ahead. As Athera began to chant in an ancient Via language, the room came alive. The glyphs on the walls glowed brighter, illuminating the chamber with a warm, golden light. Stephen could feel the energy pulsating, almost as if the very fabric of reality was bending to accommodate their union. "Now, close your eyes and open your minds," Allure whispered, her voice a calming presence amidst the chaos of emotions swirling around them. Stephen followed her lead, shutting his eyes and focusing on the connection between them. He felt her heartbeat sync with his, a steady rhythm that grounded him in the moment. With each passing second, he sensed the energy around them shifting, transforming into a tapestry of sensations. He felt Allura's hopes and dreams, her fears and burdens, flooding into his consciousness. It was overwhelming yet exhilarating, an intimate glimpse into her soul. He could see flashes of her life, the joy of running through the jungles of Iron 5, the weight of her responsibilities as a princess, and the desperation of her people. "Embrace it, Stephen," Allura's voice echoed in his mind, intertwining with his thoughts. "Feel the bond forming. Allow yourself to be vulnerable." He nodded inwardly, surrendering to the sensations. As their essences melded, he felt something shift within him. It was as if he was peeling away layers of his identity, exposing himself to the core of who he was, a human, flawed yet resilient. The connection between them deepened, and he realized that he was not losing himself, but becoming something greater. "You are strong." Allura's thoughts resonated within him, soothing the fear that had threatened to overwhelm him. "Together, we will be stronger." The energies around them intensified, swirling in a tempest of light and warmth. The glyphs on the walls began to pulse in time with their heartbeats, a rhythmic echo that filled the chamber. Stephen could feel the boundaries of his individuality dissolving as their essences intertwined, weaving a complex tapestry of shared experiences and emotions. "This is the beginning of our journey," Allura said, her voice melding with his thoughts. "We will forge a new path for both our peoples, one that transcends the boundaries of our worlds." Suddenly, a surge of energy enveloped them, a blinding light that filled the chamber and washed over them like a tidal wave. Stephen gasped as the sensations intensified, and for a brief moment, it felt as though he was suspended between worlds. Colors exploded behind his closed eyelids, swirling like galaxies in the cosmos. In that moment of transcendence, he felt every fear and doubt he had ever harbored slip away. He embraced the unknown, allowing the connection with Allura to ground him. Together, they would face whatever challenges awaited them, united in purpose and spirit. As the light began to recede, Stephen opened his eyes to find himself standing before the altar, his heart racing. The chamber was filled with a soft glow, and the air buzzed with a palpable energy. Allura stood beside him, her expression a mix of awe and wonder. "We did it," she whispered, her voice filled with emotion. "We are bonded now, intertwined in ways that transcend our understanding." Stephen nodded, his heart swelling with a mix of relief and determination. "Yes, we did." The realization washed over him. He was no longer just a human from Earth. He was now part of something greater, a bridge between two worlds. "But this is only the beginning," Athera interjected, her voice cutting through the moment. "You've forged the bond, but the true test lies ahead. The challenges we face are far from over. Your strength will be put to the test as you navigate the intricacies of our worlds." Stephen felt a shiver run down his spine at her words. He had willingly stepped into a whirlwind of uncertainty, and he could sense that the path ahead would be fraught with peril. Yet, standing next to Allura, he felt a sense of invincibility. Together, they would face whatever came next. "What do we do now?" Stephen asked, turning to Allura, who looked equally resolute. "Now we must prepare," she replied, determination igniting her features. "There are factions within my people who may not accept this union. They will see you as an outsider, a threat to our traditions. We must unite our strengths and prove that this bond can lead to a new future." "And how do we do that?" Stephen inquired, feeling the weight of their mission settle over him like a mantle. "We start by showing them the strength of our bond," Allure stated, her voice unwavering. "We will gather allies who believe in the potential of this union, and together we will confront those who oppose us." With each word she spoke, Stephen felt a sense of purpose reigniting within him. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was determined to prove that their union was a catalyst for change, not just for the Vir, but for humanity as well. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Stephen cast one last glance at the altar that had witnessed their joining. He felt a surge of gratitude for the connection they had forged, a bond that transcended the confines of their individual lives. He was ready to face whatever lay ahead, united with Allure in a shared mission. The door to the chamber creaked open, revealing the darkened corridors beyond. Together, they stepped forward, stepping into a future filled with uncertainty yet brimming with potential. The journey of their intertwined fates had begun, and Stephen could feel the winds of change swirling around them, beckoning them toward a destiny that was yet to unfold. The gathering storm. As Stephen and Allure stepped out of the sacred chamber, the weight of their recent union hung in the air like an unspoken promise. The dim corridors of the temple seemed to pulse with energy, echoing the bond they had just formed. Yet, even as they reveled in the significance of their joining, an undercurrent of tension threaded through their thoughts, a realization that challenges awaited them beyond the temple's protective walls. "We must act quickly," Allure said, her voice steady but tinged with urgency. "The longer we wait, the more our enemies will plot against us." "Enemies?" Stephen asked, trying to keep pace with her long strides. "I thought this was a time for celebration. Isn't the Union something to be proud of?" "Pride and fear often walk hand in hand," Allure replied, glancing at him with a mixture of concern and determination. "Not everyone in my society will accept this bond. Some see it as a dilution of our bloodline, a threat to our traditions." As they navigated the winding hallways, Stephen could feel the gravity of her words. The moment they had joined their essences, they had become something new, a symbol of hope for their respective peoples, but also a target for those who feared change. He understood that they would need allies, and quickly. "Who do we need to convince?" he asked, his mind racing with possibilities. "Is there a council or a leader who can help sway public opinion?" "There is a council of elders," Allure explained, her tone serious. "They hold considerable power and influence over our society. If we can gain their support, we might unify the Vir in favor of our union. However, we must also be cautious. There are factions within the council that will be vehemently opposed to me." "What do you mean?" Stephen inquired, intrigued by the complexities of her world. "My mother is not the only one who wishes to maintain control," Allure revealed, her voice dropping to a whisper as they approached the temple's exit. "Some elders believe that our survival depends solely on preserving our bloodline and traditions. They fear that a union with a human will lead to weakness, or worse, to extinction." As they emerged into the vibrant jungle outside, Stephen took a moment to absorb the beauty of Iron 5. The lush greenery and towering trees formed a stunning backdrop to their dire mission. He could hear the distant calls of alien creatures and the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze, a stark contrast to the tension that swirled within him. "Where do we begin?" he asked, scanning the horizon. "We start by gathering allies," Allure said, her expression resolute. "I know a few who may be sympathetic to our cause. If we can present a united front, we may be able to persuade the council to reconsider their stance." "Lead the way," Stephen replied, feeling a surge of determination. He had never imagined that he would be embroiled in intergalactic politics, fighting for the future of two species. Yet, here he was, ready to take on the challenge. The two set off through the dense jungle, the vibrant flora and fauna surrounding them a reminder of the untamed beauty of this alien world. As they walked, Allure shared stories of her people, tales of the Vir's rich history, their struggles against adversity, and their unyielding spirit. "My people are resilient," she said, her voice tinged with pride. "But they are also bound by tradition. Change comes slowly, often met with resistance. I worry that my union with you will be seen as a threat rather than an opportunity. You said it yourself. Change is necessary for survival, Stephen replied, hoping to instill a sense of hope. Maybe this is the moment your people have been waiting for, a chance to evolve, to grow stronger. Allure smiled, her eyes sparkling with a mix of admiration and uncertainty. You have a way of seeing the world that is refreshing, Stephen. I wish more of my people could share your perspective. As they ventured deeper into the jungle, the canopy thickened overhead, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. The path grew less defined, and Stephen could feel the weight of the journey ahead. They were about to step into a realm of politics, alliances, and possible betrayal, territory that was foreign and treacherous. After what felt like an eternity, they reached a small clearing where a humble dwelling stood, its structure woven seamlessly into the natural surroundings. Vines draped over the roof like a curtain, and the walls glimmered with bioluminescent plants that illuminated the space in soft, enchanting light. This is the home of Allure, one of the council's more progressive members, Allure said, a hint of excitement lacing her words. She has always been open to new ideas and is likely to support our union. Taking a deep breath, Allure stepped forward and knocked gently on the door. Moments later, the door opened, revealing an elderly Veer with shimmering silver skin and wise, discerning eyes. Allure's presence radiated warmth and wisdom, and Stephen felt a wave of relief wash over him. Allure, Allure exclaimed, her voice a melodic blend of surprise and delight. It's been too long. Come in, come in. As they entered the cozy dwelling, the atmosphere shifted from tense anticipation to a comfortable familiarity. The walls were adorned with intricate tapestries depicting Veer history, and the scent of fragrant herbs filled the air. Allure motioned for them to sit at a low table crafted from polished stone. "What brings you here today?" Allure inquired, her gaze shifting between the two. "You look troubled, dear." Allure exchanged a glance with Stephen before speaking. "We come with urgent news, Allure. A union has formed between me and Stephen, a human. We seek your support in presenting this to the council." Allure's eyes widened in surprise. "A human? This is unexpected indeed. Tell me more." As Allure shared the details of their union and its implications for both species, Stephen watched Allure's expressions closely. The elder listened intently, nodding occasionally as Allure explained the potential benefits of their bond, strengthening both the Veer and human lines, fostering cooperation, and ensuring survival in an increasingly hostile universe. "This is a bold step," Allure finally said, her voice thoughtful. "Your bond could serve as a bridge between our peoples, a way to share knowledge and resources, but you must also understand the fears it will evoke. Many will see this as a threat to our way of life." "We need your voice," Stephen interjected, feeling the urgency of their situation. "Your influence could sway the council in our favor. We believe that our union is not just a merging of bodies, but a fusion of cultures, ideas, and strengths. Together, we can pave the way for a new era." Allure regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "You speak passionately, human, and that is admirable. But do you truly understand the challenges that lie ahead? The council is not easily swayed, especially on matters as profound as this." "I understand," Stephen replied, his heart racing. "But I also believe in the resilience of both our peoples. Together, we can forge a path that honors our histories while embracing a future of cooperation." Allure's expression softened, and she leaned back, contemplating their words. "You are wise beyond your years, Stephen, but wisdom alone cannot change hearts. It will take more than words. It will require action. You must show them the strength of your bond." "Then we will do just that," Allure said, determination etched on her face. "We will demonstrate that our union is a powerful alliance, one that can lead us all to a better future." "Very well," Allure said, her voice gaining a note of resolve. "I will stand with you, but you must prepare yourselves for opposition. There are those within the council who will not easily accept this bond. You must be ready to face them head-on. We will, Stephen assured her, a sense of camaraderie building among them. We're ready to fight for our future. With Allura's support secured, the trio began to formulate a plan. They discussed the council's structure, identifying key members who might support their cause and those who would be staunch opponents. The challenges loomed large, but with each passing moment, Stephen felt a growing sense of purpose. This was not just about him and Allura. It was about the survival of two races, the intertwining of destinies, and the possibility of a brighter future. As the sun began to set over the horizon, casting a golden hue across the jungle, Stephen looked out at the vibrant landscape. It was a world filled with beauty and danger, a world that held both hope and fear. He knew that their journey was just beginning, and that each step they took would echo through the annals of history. Together, we will face whatever comes next, Allura said, her voice filled with conviction. Yes, Stephen replied, feeling a surge of determination. Together, we can forge a future that honors both our peoples. With their hearts aligned and a shared vision before them, they were ready to face the gathering storm. The winds of change were blowing, and Stephen knew that he was no longer just an observer in the cosmos. He was a key player in a game that would shape the very fabric of their destinies. The Council's reckoning. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange glow over the dense jungles of Iron 5 as Stephen, Allura, and Allura prepared for the pivotal meeting with the Council of Elders. The air crackled with anticipation, the weight of history pressing down on them like a tangible force. Each step they took toward the council chamber felt heavy with purpose, the significance of their union resonating in their hearts. Remember, Allura cautioned, her voice steady yet filled with urgency as they approached the grand structure where the council convened. The council values tradition above all else. They will test your resolve and your intentions. Speak from the heart, and let them see the strength of your bond. We will, Allura replied, determination shining in her eyes. Together, we will show them that this union can be a beacon of hope for our people. The council chamber loomed ahead, its architecture a blend of organic shapes and ancient stone, adorned with carvings that told the stories of past leaders and pivotal moments in Veer history. As they stepped inside, the atmosphere shifted. An air of solemnity hung thick, heavy with the weight of countless decisions made within these walls. Allura led the way, her posture tall and confident. Stephen could feel his heart pounding in his chest, the reality of what they were about to do settling over him like a cloak of inevitability. He had never imagined himself standing before a council of alien elders, arguing for the future of two worlds. The room was circular, with a large stone table at its center. Elders occupied the seats, their features a mix of wisdom and scrutiny, their eyes piercing and discerning. As the trio approached, the council members regarded them with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. Allura, began Elder Miras, a gray-haired figure known for his conservative views. You return to us with a human. This is most unexpected. You know the council's stance on such matters. Elder Miras, Allura began, her voice steady. I come to you not just as your princess, but as a representative of our future. Stephen is not merely a human, he is my chosen partner. Together, we believe we can strengthen both our peoples. The murmurs rippled through the council as they exchanged glances. Stephen felt a mix of admiration and fear for Allura. She was standing tall against the weight of tradition, ready to fight for what she believed in. And what makes you think this union will benefit us? Another elder, Elder Fowler, challenged, her sharp gaze fixed on Stephen. You are an outsider, a creature of a different world. How can we trust that you will not bring harm to our kind? I understand your concerns, Stephen replied, stepping forward, his voice firm yet respectful. But I stand here today not to threaten your way of life, but to embrace it. My union with Allura represents a melding of our strengths. Humans have faced extinction before and have survived through resilience and adaptability. I believe that together we can forge a future that honors both our cultures. The elders listened intently, their expressions inscrutable. It was clear that Stephen's words had struck a chord, but the room remained charged with skepticism. "Your words are passionate," Elder Miraz said, crossing his arms. "But passion alone does not a future guarantee. What proof do you have that this union will not weaken our bloodline? How can you ensure the survival of our race?" "By combining our strengths, we can create a new lineage," Allure interjected, her voice rising with conviction. "Our children will inherit the best of both worlds, resilience and adaptability from humanity, and strength and wisdom from the Vir. This is not just emerging, it is an evolution." "Evolution," Elder Feller echoed, her tone skeptical. "You speak of change, but our people have thrived on tradition. What you propose could unravel the very fabric of our society. We cannot gamble our future on untested waters." A sense of urgency flooded Stephen's veins as he realized they were teetering on the edge of rejection. "Change is the only constant in the universe," he replied, his voice steady. "What we face is not merely a gamble, it is an opportunity. If we fail to adapt, we risk extinction. Look around you. Our worlds are evolving, and so must we." The murmurs among the elders grew louder, a chorus of voices debating the merits and dangers of the union. The tension in the room thickened, and Stephen could sense the stakes rising. He needed to find a way to bridge the divide between the traditionalists and those who might see the potential in their bond. "If I may," Allure interjected, her voice cutting through the noise. "I have witnessed the strength of this union firsthand. I have seen how love and understanding can break down barriers. We have a unique opportunity to be at the forefront of change, to become pioneers for our future. Together, we can foster unity and cooperation." "And what of the risks?" Elder Miraz pressed, his expression still skeptical. "If this union fails, the consequences could be dire for both our races. You would not only jeopardize the Vir, but also your humankind." "Every path worth taking comes with risks," Stephen countered, his determination igniting. "But every day we continue to live in fear of change, we stagnate. I am here to show you that the potential for greatness lies in our willingness to embrace the unknown. Together, we can build something extraordinary, a legacy that both our peoples can be proud of." The chamber fell silent as the elders exchanged glances, their faces a mix of contemplation and uncertainty. Stephen could feel the weight of their judgment pressing down on him, but he refused to waver. This was a defining moment, not just for him and Allure, but for the future of both races. "What do you propose we do?" Elder Feller finally asked, her tone shifting from confrontation to curiosity. "Let us demonstrate the strength of our bond," Allure suggested, her voice filled with conviction. "We can organize a gathering, an event where both our peoples come together to witness our union firsthand. If they see the power of our connection, it may inspire hope and acceptance." "A public demonstration?" Miraz asked, his brow furrowing in thought. "That is indeed a bold proposal, but how will you ensure that it is well received?" "We will reach out to those who support our cause," Stephen replied, feeling the fire of inspiration coursing through him. "Together we can create an event that showcases the benefits of our union, the strength that comes from collaboration. We must involve both humans and Vir, allowing them to see the potential for harmony." The elders deliberated in hushed tones, their expressions still wary but tinged with intrigue. Stephen held his breath, aware that the fate of their mission hung in the balance. He could feel Allure's hand tighten around his, a silent reminder of the bond they had forged. Finally, Elder Miraz spoke, his voice firm. "Very well, we will allow you to proceed with this gathering. But know this, the Council will be watching closely. If you fail to convince the people of the merits of this union, the consequences will fall upon you both." "We accept that challenge," Allure declared, her eyes shining with determination. "We will not falter in our mission. Together, we will demonstrate that this union can lead to a brighter future for all." As the meeting adjourned, a wave of relief washed over Stephen. They had secured the Council's approval to move forward, but the real work lay ahead. The gathering would be a test of their resolve, a chance to prove that their bond could transcend the boundaries of tradition and fear. Stepping out of the council chamber, Stephen felt a renewed sense of purpose. The path ahead would not be easy, but he was ready to face the challenges head-on. Together with Allure and their growing coalition of supporters, they would fight for their future, one step at a time. "We did it," Allure said, her voice filled with a mix of exhilaration and relief. "We have a chance. Now we must make the most of it." "Yes, we will," Stephen replied, feeling the weight of responsibility settle upon his shoulders. "But we need a plan. We should start reaching out to the humans on Iron 5 and gather their support." "I know just the place," Allure said, her enthusiasm returning. "There's a settlement nearby. Many humans have come to study the flora and fauna of this planet. They may be more open to our union than you realize." As they set off toward the settlement, the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows through the jungle. Stephen felt a sense of urgency, a drive to make their vision a reality. The journey ahead would require determination, courage, and collaboration, but he was ready to embrace the unknown. Together with Allure, they would not only fight for their bond, but also pave the way for a new era, a future where love and understanding could transcend the barriers of their worlds. The winds of change were beginning to stir, and Stephen could feel the currents shifting in their favor. They were on the brink of something extraordinary, a journey that would redefine the destiny of both humans and Vir alike.